Now, can I turn to another matter that the Immigration Minister has spoken about this morning? As he's described, as you know, recently, the 28th people smuggling expedition has been turned back. That's to say, we've turned back 28 boats. This is total 734 passengers have been turned back in their people smuggling ventures. There were 21 on this vessel, and they have been returned to Vietnam, and we thank the government there for their cooperation in ensuring the safe return of those people. As you know, there is also a vessel in Aceh that is attempting to come to Australia. Let me be quite clear about this. The people smugglers will continue to test our resolve. They have a very, very lucrative business model. We have put them out of business, but they keep on trying to get back into business. They use social media very skillfully to market to their customers in a way that was not available to them a decade or so ago, during the days of the Howard government. The challenge of people smuggling is greater than it has ever been. And the only thing that stops them is the steely resolve of my government to turn those boats back. You cannot give an inch to the people smugglers. They are very determined criminals. Now, the Labor Party has announced that they are going to abolish temporary protection visas. And this will mean that the 30,000 asylum seekers who came by boat under the Labor government, who are in Australia, will get permanent residence. This will send an absolutely unequivocal signal to the people smugglers that under a Labor government, anyone who manages to get to Australia on a boat will be able to stay here permanently. It will be used aggressively as a marketing tool by people smugglers, and it absolutely demonstrates the hollowness of Bill Shorten's claim that he shares the same border protection policies as us. The temporary protection visas are a critical element in our border protection policies. Mr. Shorten is already, before he's even won the election, he's already abandoning his commitment to our policies. Now, we saw with Kevin Rudd what he did. He committed to all of John Howard's policies. He said he'd turn votes back. He said he'd be strong on the borders. Then after the election, he abandoned those policies, and we know what we got. 50,000 unauthorised arrivals and 1,200 people drowned at sea, of whom we know there were plainly more. So it is a tragic thing to think that the Labor Party would once again be in charge of our borders. Imagine the chaos that we would be presented with under a Labor, Greens, independent government. Even now, before the election day, they are abandoning critical elements in our border protection policy. They simply cannot be trusted on border protection. Only the strong resolve of a stable coalition government will keep the border secure and keep the people smugglers out.
Sorry. Labor is vowed to also have turnbacks, though. This is part of the National Party platform. Why would things be different?
Labor does not have the willpower to do it. Kevin Rudd said he'd turn boats back, and he didn't. Bill Shorten said, not so long ago, that he had the same policy as us, and he's already abandoned a key element of it, the temporary protection visas. So the Labor Party it's got form on this, and Bill Shorten is weakening already. He has 50 candidates and members and senators who are on the record as being opposed to our border protection policy. How can he in government, in alliance with the Greens and Independents, possibly resist that? How can he have the resolve? How could he be trusted to have the resolve to keep our borders secure? The people smugglers test us. They know where we stand. There have been 28 expeditions that we have turned back. It's nearly 700 days since there was a successful one. There are 734 passengers that have been returned, and they are still trying to test us. Imagine what they will do to a Labor government. It will be in force. Believe me, the people smugglers use social media and the modern forms of communication to market as well as anybody in this room. They are evil, but they are very adept at the way they market, and they will market this weakening of Labor's policy to encourage more customers to get on their boats and set off on more expeditions.
Will a re-elected Turnbull government and the new parliament make any decisions to cut spending in the areas of health, education or welfare, or to pay down the deficit, or can you rule that out?
Our policies are all set out in the budget. They're all set out there.
On asylum seeker votes, Prime Minister, for the past 3 years we've asked about them and been told that it's, quote, on water matters and we wouldn't be getting the information that we wanted. What's changed now that you're now forthcoming with this information?
Well, it is very important that the public know, and in particular the people smugglers know. It's very important that the people smugglers know and their would-be customers know that boats have been turned back and that they are being turned back. This is a critical part of our communication, because it's important that their messaging, which is obviously designed to get people on boats, is countered by the facts of our steely resolve to stop them from putting people's lives at risk and challenging the sovereignty of our borders.